It is Friday, February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day. And I haven't done a guy's daily drive in a long time. But that's not really true either. It's not true. But this is Guy's Daily Drive. And hello, everyone. For once, there's not extenuating circumstances as far as the weather goes, where it's, I don't know what this guy's doing in front of me, where it's either too cold or too hot or too bright or too this or too that. It's been really kind of a miserable winter. But there is stuff going on. Now, I like football, as I have said several times. And on the football front, now I know the Super Bowl is over, and the New England Patriots won the Super Bowl. I'm not bitter. Not bitter about that at all. Doesn't bother me at all. So, typically, this time of year, it means that there will be no more football, live football, until August, or maybe even September, preseason games. But there are other options. There was also there's some indoor football leagues that play during this time period. None in this area, none that I can count on going to see. The AFL is down to, it's the Arena Football League. They're down to 4 teams, maybe 5 teams. Washington actually won the Arena Bowl last year, but when you're looking at 4 teams, that's all they had playing was 4 teams, which meant, and 2 of those teams were owned by the same people. So you don't really get a whole lot in the way of variety as far as teams that you're going to play. But there is a new game in town called the Alliance of American Football. And I don't know. Last week was the first televised week. Now, they had 2 games, I guess, as preseason. They weren't televised, at least not here in the local area. And that was mostly, I think, just to make sure that the rules that they had set in place were going to work, and that the referees that they had knew what they were doing. There's a couple of different rules changes, which I'm not going to go into for the most part. The 2 biggest rule changes that the AAF uses that the NFL does not is there's no kickoffs. So they did a study, and they found that 85 to 90% of kickoffs just bounced through the end zone, and the team took the ball over on the 25-yard line. So they were then why bother with it? Just give the other team the ball on the 25-yard line, which they did. There's no point after touchdowns. You have to try for a 2-point attempt for every single touchdown. So that's a little more exciting, which means that you either get 6 or 8 points. There's no 7 points because you can't earn a point like that anymore. So the only thing that kickers now get to do is kick field goals, which is still 3 points. So one of the other big rule changes, and I can kind of get why they did this, especially for a new game with new teams and guys that haven't played all that long together, is you can only rush 4 guys. Your defensive line can only have 4 guys rushing with one other person that can blitz. So a total of 5. If you do more than that, and it happened a couple times, it's a penalty, illegal defense, and the other team gets 15 yards and an automatic first down. And I think the biggest reason why they did this was to kind of keep the quarterbacks from getting like slaughtered. Because typically in games like this, the defenses usually have their act together much before the offense does. So if the defenses are all much more in tune than the offenses, that means you come up with some blitz packages with 6 guys rushing in, and you're going to have quarterbacks that are just going to get slaughtered. So they did away with that. You can only have up to 5 people rushing. So, but the only reason we're talking about this is the really big news. Here's the really big news. I'm going to go to a game. There's 8 teams in the Alliance of American Football. None of them are close to Washington, D.C. So, yeah, it's not like I can say, I'm going to go and watch an Alliance of American Football game here in Washington, D.C. Because you can't. There isn't a team here. But there is a team in Orlando. So, here's the plan. March 16th, the Orlando Apollos, and I didn't name these teams, and that is like such a lame, I'm sorry, that's a lame-ass name. It really is. The Orlando Apollos. This guy's from Florida, and he's a jackass. So what they've done is there's a team that's in Arizona, and they're called, wait for it, the Arizona Hotshots. So again, I did not name these teams. This is the way that they've named the teams. So it's the Orlando Apollos versus the Arizona Hotshots. March 16th, this is a Saturday at 8 p.m. in Orlando. And my original plan was to fly down, and I hate flying, but it just seemed like if this was just for a couple of days, I really didn't want to waste, 2 to 4 days driving. But then, lo and behold, I asked my wife if she was interested, and for the last many years she has not been, because she doesn't like the beach. She doesn't like hot weather, particularly. So, in the summertime when I'd be saying I'm going to go to Florida, she's like, I don't want to go. So she didn't go. But she wants to go. So I've rearranged the trip. Originally it was going to be like I was going to go down like on a Wednesday, see the game on Saturday, maybe fly back Sunday or Monday. But since Tracy's going, that means that we can go ahead and drive it, because we'll have 2 people driving, and we can take our time, because we can take more days. Because I didn't want to do this just for me. It was, I wanted to make sure that there was stuff that Tracy wanted to do as well, and stuff that I like to do too. So here's the plan. The current plan, and subject to change, as is most plans, is to leave on the Saturday before, which is March 9th, I think, and we drive to North Carolina, where Tracy has some relatives, and she also likes to do some genealogy research related to, of course, genealogy, the stuff that she likes to do. They have a family history museum that details the history of a lot of the families from that area. So that works out really well. So we would get there on sometime on Saturday, spend all day Sunday. I don't know if the family place is open on Sundays, but we, there'd be other stuff to do as well. She likes going to some of the graveyards and looking for names and things like that. And I'm more than happy to tag along and do that stuff too. So Sunday, possibly Monday, we would be doing that. And then either Monday or Tuesday, we would drive to St. Augustine, Florida. And there's all kinds of cool stuff to do. St. Augustine, if you've never been to St. Augustine, it's a fun place to be. It's got a kind of a semi-pirate vibe going for it. This is the oldest city, it's the oldest European settlement in North America. It's like sometime in the 1500s, something like that, when the Spanish started it. So, but there's all kinds of stuff to do there. So we would be there like Tuesday, and then either Wednesday, possibly Thursday, we would either go to Orlando or possibly scoot past Orlando, Daytona, go down to Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, see my brother Larry, and maybe have a dinner with some people that I went to high school with down in that area. They've never met Tracy. And then when we're back in the Daytona area, there's stuff to do there that's not related to going to the beach, which Tracy has zero interest in. And as it turns out, Bill is going to be goth dude. Bill is pretty busy at work, so it's not like he's going to have a lot of surf days available. So may not get any surfing in. But we would find other stuff to do and then spend time with the family. And then on Saturday, we would go to this football game. So, and then get up on Sunday and start our drive back, getting home sometime on Monday. The 18th, I think, is that Monday? 18th of March? Well, regardless, that's the plan, so it would be scooting down, doing North Carolina, and then going to St. Augustine, Daytona. We would be in Orlando, but we wouldn't be doing like theme parks or anything like that. And then possibly Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale. So that's kind of what's been going through my mind. And I have about a month to plan all this. I've talked to my nephew Bill, and I just started kind of a Facebook post, Facebook Messenger, or whatever they call their texting service, with some of the people that are down there in the Fort Lauderdale area to, kind of sound them out and see what kind of plans that they have, if they'd be interested in going to the football game. I think it would be a blast. And the games themselves, they play them for Orlando in I think it's the University of Central Florida's football stadium. And you can get midfield upper deck tickets for like $40, which is, for not that much for a football game. Excuse me. So I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to this. I have been so cooped up around here, and we haven't, Tracy and I we didn't go to the Renaissance fairs this year. Mostly, the weather was really crappy, and there was a few other activities going on the weekends that the Renaissance fair was there, and this was like the first time we've missed that in years. We've almost always managed to go to either the Maryland or the Pennsylvania Ren Fair, and we missed it this year. So there hasn't been any big trips. I did go to Ohio in December for that Audio Technica warehouse event, and that was fun. It was great to see Dave and Joyce. But that's Ohio in the wintertime. That's like not conducive to getting some sun and having the wind in your hair, or what's left of my hair, and all those things that I like to do. So, and it's still kind of early in the season. Being March, it's not going to be like super hot or anything along those lines. And who knows, maybe I'll be able to talk Tracy into doing a day at Disney or something like that, because the lines, hopefully in March, shouldn't be that long. I'll have to do some research on when Disney is busy and when it's not busy and see what March looks like. Anyway, that's about it. So that's my exciting news. If you would like to see more of the crazy stuff that I do, and I know talking about my vacation plans is hardly crazy, you can find me on most weekends on the MyMac.com podcast that I do with Gaz. Hey, hold on a second. There we go. And, of course, on Wednesday nights, I do the back to the... Oh, God. I can't even think of the name of the podcast now. It's the live podcast, Mac to the Future. God. Mac to the Future Go live cast that I do on Wednesday. See, this is the problem with driving and doing this, is sometimes your brain just kind of goes, nope, not going to tell you what that is. You're just going to have to twist in the wind. Mac to the Future podcast, Mac to the Future Go podcast, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, of course, Guy's Daily Drive. But with all this stuff going on, if you would like to help support the things that I do, you can do so. Do a one-time donation at ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or just look me up, Guy Searle. You can also become a regular Patreon at, oddly enough, patreon.com/MacParrot. You can reach me via my email address, guy@mymac.com. I have 2 Twitter addresses that you may want to try out. One is one I've had for a really long time, Mac Parrot. And the other one is relatively new. It's Vert Shark. And where that comes from is the new website that I've been using, where I host I don't host it, but I link to all the stuff that I do outside of the MyMac.com podcast. And that's vertshark.com, vertshark.com. So all of those various ways that you can get a hold of me, and that's going to be about it. So thank you all if you're watching. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry it has been so long since I've done one of these. I will try to be better about this, because I need to. I should. I mean, I made a commitment to do this. You got to do it. Just got to do it. And I will catch you next time on Guy's Daily Drive.